Hey guys, it's Neon. This is Clownfish TV. We're going to talk about PewDiePie. PewDiePie is in trouble again. PewDiePie is always in trouble. When is PewDiePie not in trouble? When does the media not hate PewDiePie? PewDiePie was going to give $50,000 to the Anti-Defamation League, and then he, I guess, didn't realize who they were or what they did. Somebody called to his attention that they were the folks that tried to get him canceled in 2017 for Nazi jokes, and he rescinded the donation. So now the media is having a major meltdown about PewDiePie withdrawing his $50,000, which is, I mean, he could have just found it in like his pants pocket or something. Withdrawing his $50,000 donation to the Anti-Defamation League with titles or headlines like this one: PewDiePie gets canceled by the toxic fringe of his fan base, backtracks. There's not really, I mean, look, he's got 100 million subs. Are we talking the very, very, very fringe of his fan base? Because that's a lot of fans. That's 100 million people. That's more than any single YouTuber has. 100 million subscribers to PewDiePie. So clearly, he's not just some fringe personality. He's kind of a big deal. And as such, he's got a huge target on his forehead. So we're going to talk about that in this episode of Clownfish TV. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, we would like to hit 100 million by the end of the year. No, we would be thrilled to hit 100,000 by the end of the year. If you guys haven't subbed, please do so. We want to continue making content, and it helps us get found by YouTube. However, we do not have $50,000 to give to the Anti-Defamation League, and so I don't think we're going to be in any headlines like this in Forbes. So let's just backtrack here a little bit and go out to Google News and see some of these headlines, and we'll look at some of these articles. People are freaking out. I think we're up to like one PewDiePie freak out every 6 months now. The mainstream media just does not like PewDiePie. The Verge: PewDiePie pulls $50,000 pledge to Jewish anti-hate group after fan backlash because he's awful. PewDiePie rescinds his $50,000 pledge to Jewish charity after fans spread conspiracy theories. YouTuber PewDiePie scraps $50,000 pledge to anti-hate group after fan backlash is awful fans. YouTuber PewDiePie pulls a $50K donation to Jewish anti-hate group after alleged fan backlash. PewDiePie gets canceled by the toxic fringe of his fan base, backtracks. PewDiePie and his fans are awful people. They're awful people who don't like to give to charity. Top YouTuber PewDiePie withdraws $50,000 pledge to Anti-Defamation League, calls it a mistake. Boing boing. PewDiePie rescinds donation to Jewish group after fan outrage. ADL reports no sign of $50,000 donation from YouTube star criticized for anti-Semitic video content. So here PewDiePie defends his donation after organization slammed him. So, you know, the media loved it. They loved it when PewDiePie was giving them money. And they're like, PewDiePie's turned over a new leaf. He's turned over a new leaf. PewDiePie's a good guy now. He's a good guy. But now PewDiePie is back on the shit list because he pulled funding. Now, just to backtrack here a little bit, the Anti-Defamation League did call for PewDiePie's canceling, or at least, you know, for PewDiePie to be a little more cautious of what he says, I guess. On multiple occasions, this going back to 2017, where Jonathan Vick, an Anti-Defamation League associate director, said it doesn't matter whether the anti-Jewish jokes were genuine or simply attention-seeking, since the effect is the same. It normalizes Nazism and marginalizes our enemies. Just putting it out there brings it more and more into the mainstream. And again, that was a joke that fell flat, and I don't even think PewDiePie intended for it to happen. I think he was sort of not thinking that they were going to go that far. That, of course, being that Fiverr joke, which set off Adpocalypse 1, just to show you how much power PewDiePie has. This one oopsie set off the first Adpocalypse. because YouTube, tried very hard to overcorrect, and there were advertisers threatening to pull. He got canceled from Disney, from Maker Studios, which basically led to Maker Studios imploding. PewDiePie has a lot of weight. He has a lot of power. Of course, the tragedy in New Zealand being attributed to PewDiePie. So everybody was praising PewDiePie yesterday. They're not praising him today. YouTuber PewDiePie scraps $50,000 pledge to anti-hate group after fan backlash. Vlogger embraced by far right apologizes for planned donation to Antidefamation League after fans claim conspiracy. Basically, he was going to give them money. It was part of, as I understand it, I did not watch the video, but as I understand it, he mentioned it briefly in his 100 million sub video, celebratory video, and he hadn't really looked into it that much. Now, he said that somebody had chosen that charity for him, and he hadn't really looked into it. I don't know if he made the connection that these were the same people that were trying to, or that were calling for him to be deplatformed on a couple of different occasions or not. I don't know. So here, this is coming from The Guardian. YouTuber PewDiePie has withdrawn a $50,000 pledge to an anti-hate group, which he had dedicated as a means of atoning for past accusations of racism and anti-Semitism after backlash from his fans. The Swedish vlogger had promised funds received from a sponsorship deal to the Antidefamation League, the ADL, a not-for-profit organization that fights anti-Semitism. But he apologized to fans who had been developing conspiracy theories that he had been pressured to make the donation in a video uploaded on Thursday. I made the mistake of picking a charity that I was advised to instead of picking a charity that I'm personally passionate about, he said, which is 100% my fault. So PewDiePie, whose channel surpassed 100 million subs in August, has attracted controversy in the past for posting anti-Semitic jokes and videos and Nazi imagery. In 2017, Disney dropped him as a sponsor after a report found that he had posted 9 videos involving offensive rhetoric, including one in which he had paid 2 men to hold a sign that read, well, you can read it for yourself. He also had been embraced by far-right extremists, including the Christchurch situation in New Zealand. He removed some of the videos following the situation in New Zealand, saying in a statement he recognized some of his jokes were ultimately offensive, and he felt absolutely sickened that the alleged gunman had mentioned him. The donation dedicated to the ADL was seen as his latest effort to distance himself from far-right hate speech, but his fans were not happy. All that this particular incident shows is that at least some of his followers have anti-Semitic leanings, and they were loud enough to get him to change course on what seemed like a PR opportunity to smooth over some of his incidents from the past. Said Matt Rivets of the social media activism organization Sleeping Giants. The controversies surrounding PewDiePie underscore problems YouTube faces with extremism on the platform, this activist says. And yeah, look, I'm gonna stop right there and say that there are some definitely there's some weirdness going on between journalists and YouTubers these days. And anybody who does YouTube, it's become more and more apparent that the old school media, the old guard, they're trying very, very hard to find anything remotely offensive about YouTubers, I think, as a means to pull out YouTube's teeth, because YouTube has taken eyeballs from their blogs, their vlogs, their print publications. Everybody's watching YouTube now, and they're not reading their riveting articles. Personal opinion. So PewDiePie obviously is the easiest target because he's the biggest. But we see that it has trickled down to other YouTubers. Some YouTubers' content I do not agree with. I'm going to be honest, but it's affecting everybody. It's affecting everybody. And even benign YouTubers are being affected by these seemingly random changes to the algorithm every other month in an attempt to weed out this kind of YouTuber or that kind of YouTuber. And it gets more and more ridiculous. Like, as a YouTuber, it's hard to keep up with what the rules actually are because they change. And those changes are often dictated by people that don't even use the platform. They're dictated by these journalists who get their panties in a twist about this thing or that thing, and then they use that as an opportunity to try to cut off the advertising dollars to YouTube, because for some reason they seem to think that if YouTube doesn't exist, people are going to come back to their blogs, and they're not going to. They're just going to move on to whatever replaces YouTube, because people like video. That's where things are going now, right? That's where things are going. They like video and they like honesty. And, blogs lately, a lot of these media outlets have not been very good at that. They don't have the personalities to put on camera to give their opinions or whatever, and they don't have the honesty anymore. They don't have the integrity anymore. So people are going and finding people who they feel speak for them. And it's not alt-right, it's not far-right. I'm not saying that there aren't YouTubers on the platform that espouse those beliefs, but the vast majority do not. And PewDiePie, again, is always the whipping boy. He's always the one that they point to and say, look at what PewDiePie did. This is why all of YouTube is bad. They would love it. I think these bloggers would love it if PewDiePie got kicked off of YouTube. They would love it. They would love it. And then there would be a trickle-down effect, and a lot of other people would get kicked off of YouTube for ridiculous reasons. So the company came under fire in June for failing to remove vlogger Steven Crowder from the platform after years of anti-gay abuse directed at the video journalist Carlos Maza, who kicked off Adpocalypse, whatever, the Vox Adpocalypse. I mean, every Adpocalypse is triggered, I think, by a triggered journalist. Personal opinion, just watching it. Every time a journalist runs with something or some half-truth or untruth about YouTube, that triggers another adpocalypse. Meanwhile, a group of LGBTQ YouTubers are suing YouTube's parent company for allegedly censoring their content and incentivizing volatile behavior. This is the thing. People are getting caught up every time they make one of these algorithm changes. Every time they bend the knee to these journalists who just don't like the platform, and they look for every reason to take pot shots at YouTube, they hurt people who do not espouse radical beliefs, who do not post volatile content. I mean, freaking Chad Tronic had his comments removed for, I think, months, because they thought he had kiddie stuff on his channel when he just had kids in videos and commercials from the 1990s, the 1980s. They overcorrect and they punish creators who haven't done anything wrong. So YouTube has an extremism problem regardless of this particular incident. I could argue that journalists, many media outlets have an extremism problem, but I digress. They have proven time and time again that they care more about engagement and ad rates than responsibility, which is why advertisers have such difficulty with them. No, they are actually taking all the ad dollars. Most advertisers now, most agencies now are spending more and more on video and less on blogs with ad blockers and all that garbage. YouTube did not respond. The ADL learned about the potential donation from PewDiePie when everyone else did, when he made the announcement, and we have not received any communication. Meanwhile, The Guardian is begging for money. So just case in point, The Guardian is begging for money. Of course, The Verge jumping on this. PewDiePie pulls $50,000 pledge to Jewish anti-hate group after fan backlash. Look at these headlines. What they're basically making this out to be, instead of saying, hey, PewDiePie decided not to give money to the ADL. And the ADL actually said they didn't even receive any word from PewDiePie. Just in this one sentence, you basically can read into this that PewDiePie doesn't like Jewish people and his fans are awful people too. It's sort of implied. YouTuber said he didn't know a lot about the ADL. I don't think maybe he just didn't realize that they're the people that were trying to get him kicked off the platform going back to 2017. And I thought he was very diplomatic about it. He said, I made the mistake of picking a charity I was advised to instead of picking a charity I'm personally passionate about, which is 100% my fault. He had a tweet that was recently deleted saying that making a donation to the ADL doesn't make sense to everyone, especially since they've outright spoken against me. A spokesperson for the ADL told The Verge at the time that they learned about the potential donation when everyone else did. So he never reached out to them anyway. So it's not like he actually pulled the donation. He talked about it. He didn't actually pull it. But yeah, I mean, look, I'm going to be honest. Regardless of how you feel about, the ADL or what they do, okay, that's not, for me, that's not really the issue. I'm like, well, one, PewDiePie can do with his money whatever he wants to do. And two, why would you give money to people who hate you? It's like, why would you? Like, the ADL does not like PewDiePie. They don't. They've taken pot shots at him time and time again. And, some people say it's a good faith, a token of good faith, but, they've not said nice things about him. I'll be honest, I would be hesitant to give an organization money if they've tried to take my job away because they didn't agree with the content of my videos or whatever. I'd be like, why would I give you money so you can try to keep trying to take my job away? So I don't know. So this is kind of what went down. Kotaku, of course, is jumping on it. So he is saying that he does feel horrible about what happened in New Zealand. I mean, who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? I would have a hard time getting up in the morning and looking at myself in the mirror, even if it ultimately was not my fault. Just knowing that somebody used my name to do something so horrendous. And he said that he has a lot of feelings about it, strong feelings about it. Here's what he said about the situation. He said, "I saw it as an opportunity to put an end to these alt-right claims that have been thrown against me. It wasn't to try and clear my name or save grace. If it was, I would have done it years ago. But after the tragedy, I felt a responsibility to do something about it because it's no longer just about me. It affected other people in a way, and I'm not okay with that. I've struggled to figure out how to do that, but this was not the right way to go about it." Talking about the donation to the ADL. "I knew it wasn't perfect, but I also didn't know a lot of things that surfaced throughout this whole thing about the charity that doesn't fit at all. So I understand why people had concerns about it. These things I would have known myself if I had just taken my time. It really doesn't feel genuine for me to proceed with the donation at this point, and I instead wanted to actually take my time and keep the intent that I had, but do it with the right charity and doing it properly. I just wanted to make that clear. I'm sorry for all the confusion. I'm sorry for messing this up. That's what I do." So he's not saying he's not going to donate to a charity. He's not saying he's not going to donate to a charity that might be in line with what the initial donation to the ADL was supposed to do, what the intent was supposed to do, but not actually be the ADL. And I know people have a lot of feelings on the ADL. I've never really looked into him that much, I'll be honest. But again, this is another case where the media is going to jump on him. They're going to jump on him because he's the biggest target. He's absolutely got a target. Do I think YouTube would throw him under the wheels of the bus someday to save face? I'm going to be honest. I think they might. I think someday there might be enough pressure put on YouTube that they might actually throw PewDiePie under the wheels of the bus to try to save face with the media, which is so weird. Like, why do you care what the media thinks? You're competition to them. YouTube is competition to the mainstream media. Why do you care what they think? But they do. So, it's going to be an interesting situation to watch. I'm curious what charity he's going to pick instead, but we're going to see anti-PewDiePie articles for weeks. And then, you know what? After this blows over, they're going to find something else. And they're going to jump him for something else. And it's almost like he's the Borg queen, right? He's like the Borg queen of YouTube. Like, you take out PewDiePie and these people think that like the rest of YouTube is going to crumble underneath him. And that's kind of what I think the motivation is. And again, I think this is really an attack on all of YouTube, not just Felix, but an attack on all of YouTube. And even us little YouTubers, we feel the trickle down effect of these attacks on YouTube. Smaller YouTubers feel it in their financials. Even if they're not producing any controversial content at all, it affects everybody. I mean, look, because of all these attacks on YouTube, People who make innocuous toy channels, toy opening channels, they're looking at possibly losing a huge chunk of revenue. It's crazy. It's crazy, and it's all, in my personal opinion, it's all about the mainstream media being threatened by YouTube and trying to do as much damage as they can by taking shots at the biggest people on the platform. And they do it time and time again. The media loves a bad YouTuber story. And, PewDiePie has got a huge target painted on him. And these kinds of stories aren't going to end anytime soon. Hey guys, thanks for watching Clownfish TV. Please consider supporting the channel. Go to clownfishsupport.com. That's clownfishsupport.com. And if you want to join our community, go to clownfishtalk.com. That's clownfishtalk.com. Please subscribe. Ring the bell for notifications. We will talk to you next time.